What if you could easily and effortlessly remember all the things that you wanted to remember? What if you could easily and effortlessly memorize whatever it is that you needed to memorize? And what if you could walk into a room, meet 50 people, and remember everybody's name? What's up, everyone? Today, I am going to be talking to you about memory secrets. So I'm very excited about today's session. First of all, I want to welcome you to another episode of Unconscious Communication Secrets. We're live. Please drop in a note, say hello if you're tuning in. And today's topic is super interesting, and we're talking about what if you could easily and effortlessly remember the things that you wanted to remember. So just to give you a very quick analogy, right? I want you to imagine like a kids play area. If you have kids, for example, everything's super unorganized, and when you want to find like the car, you're kind of like, let me just go and sift through everything just trying to find the car, versus where you have a filing system and okay, cars are in this. I want to find a car, I got to go to this box. And that's essentially how this memory technique sort of works. Most people have a very jumbled up sort of mind. Basically, everything is everywhere. However, when we talk about creating memory techniques, it's about finding a place to store information and be able to retrieve it very easily. And this is just like this toy analogy that I'm talking about. So as I mentioned, today we're talking about how to create a powerful memory, how to be able to recall things. And this is the same technique that, by the way, Sherlock Holmes, if you watch the TV show Sherlock, he uses this technique within the TV show. All the memory champions, they have a couple of documentaries on it, about this on Netflix, etc. But here's why this is so important. Basically, if you wanted to remember people's names, you want to have you want to understand this technique. If you wanted to understand facts, if you just want to remember your shopping list when you go to the shops, this technique is very, very powerful. But also if you're studying for something, etc. But just having a great memory improves your overall mental health as well. So now, tell you how this whole concept came about. There's a gentleman by the name of Simonides of Ceos. And this is like back in the day. I don't know if it's a true story or if it's just a legend, but essentially what happened was he was at a function, and he was speaking at a function, and he was actually called out of this function, and the building had collapsed. It was the building had collapsed, and people they came and they needed to identify the bodies. And Simonides, basically, he was able to tell everybody which body belonged to whom, because in his mind he was able to retrace the steps and say, okay, this person was sitting here, so that's who this person's body is. Then they go to the next place and they say this person here, and he was able to go throughout the banquet hall and remember literally who had passed away, because they knew exactly where everybody was there. Hi Marika, great to see you. Thank you for dropping a note. Great to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. So this technique is come from Simonides. This originated, and it's called the method of Loki, location-based information. So he was able to identify people just because in his memory he went and said, okay, this person was sitting here, this person was sitting here, this person was sitting here, da 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 da, and he recreated and helped people identify the body just because of where people were sitting, and in his mind he remembered that. So so let's talk about the framework that you need in order to create a master memory. MJ's back. What's up, MJ? Great to see you, man. It's been a while. I appreciate you coming back and tuning in. It's so good to see you, man. Great to see you, MJ. All right, cool. Now, so let's talk about the master memory framework. First of all, your filing system. Now, if you want to get organized, just think of it in normal life. If you wanted to get organized, you have to find somewhere to put things. So if, let's say, you had files, you had loads of papers, and you wanted to get organized so that you can retrieve it easily, you would have to find somewhere to put it. And notice I'm emphasizing something on purpose. Find somewhere to put it. And so you might get a filing cabinet, for example. Now, this is the same when it comes to your memory. Our mind has locations, literally locations, places that we've been to multiple times that we can easily recreate. So, for example, over here, I've got a picture of my school because I went there for so many years. I can literally recreate. I can imagine myself walking into the school, and if I turned left over here, I walk past the library, and then I'd turn left to go to my school. Like, I can recreate this whole location. If you think about the house that you live in right now, you can imagine when you walk in the front door, which way you'd go, which way you'd turn, because our mind is very good when it comes to locations. That's one of the most natural ways that we remember things, because our mind was designed. Like, if you're in the woods and you needed to go hunting for berries, you'd need to be able to retrace your steps. So our mind really remembers locations very well. So I want you to this is the first part. We already have different locations in our mind. We can go to our old school. We can go to our old house. We can go to the street that we live in, or the street that we lived in when we went to university, or something like that, whatever. But we have multiple locations within our mind already. So that's the first part. Each location has what we call stations, stops. So, for example, if you're imagining your house, right? Let's say this is the house. And in the house, you have different rooms. That's a macro location. That's a big location. So the bedroom is a big location. The living room is another location. The kitchen is another location. Those rooms are like stops, stations. Each location has stations, sorry. And each station has macro stations, the rooms, but also has micro stations. What do I mean by a micro station? That is like, in the bedroom, you'll have your bed. You'll have your bedside table. You'll have, in the kitchen, you have the sink, you'll have the fridge, etc. These are all micro stations, and then the macro is the big one, okay? Now, once you have a place to store information. So let me just keep it like this. You have your house. You can imagine your house at any point. You can imagine walking through the house. And so you already have a place, like a filing place, your house, imagining your house. You can walk in, and the first room is one place where you can store information. The kitchen can be another place you can store information. Your living room can be another place that you can store information. All of these are, different, different stations within your location. Now, how do we get information in there? So, first of all, you have to understand we think in pictures. If I had said to you giraffe, you don't imagine the word giraffe. Your mind may think of it very quickly, but especially because you've grown up hearing the word giraffe multiple times, but we think in pictures. So as soon as I say the word giraffe, typically you should have a little bit of a picture flash even at an unconscious level. So understanding, if you want to remember anything, to create pictures. So you want to create images of what you want people to remember, or what you want to remember. Now, here's a funny thing. When I understand this concept so well that when I introduce myself, I always know that people are not good with names. So I introduce myself as, hey, my name is Munir. If you want to remember my name, it's just imagine a moon with an ear on it. And I create a picture for people. And typically they remember me very well afterwards. because I create a picture for people. But if you can do that with people's names, you can do that with shopping, etc. So let's say I want to remember a shopping list. I would just not just imagine a banana. I would imagine a big banana, for example, right? Like life-size banana. So you create an image of what you want to remember, but then you exaggerate it. You make it bigger. You make it more colorful. You make it like catch your attention. Okay, and then you want to store images. So how do we store images? First of all, you want to do some action. Like our mind thinks in also not just pictures, but like moving pictures, like movies. So you want to exaggerate. You want to make this almost unreal, like ridiculous, because then your mind pays attention to it. So maybe you want to make it funny or stand out. So let's say I need to remember in my shopping, I need to remember banana. Okay, I have to go to the shop. I need to remember banana. So I go into my mind, I go into my house, and in the first room, which is the kitchen for me, I will imagine a big banana that's dancing, right? Like that's like doing some hip hop, and then he does the splits, for example, but something crazy. And then in the next room, I will remember item number 2 or item number 3 or item number 4, etc. Now, this is the basic where you use each room as one station, but you can also use like the sink as a micro station, as you know, so you can have multiple locations that you can put within each room. But at its basic level, I think of an image that I want. I add action to it that's really funny, and I have a location. And so you combine those three, because our mind is very good at remembering locations, very amazing at remembering locations. It thinks in pictures. You add crazy action to it, you combine those three, and you will be able to remember all sorts of things. So how do people like memory champions remember all these crazy things? Well, basically they turn things into images, they add crazy animation, and they store it in multiple locations within their what's called a memory palace. That's when you have a layout of a house or a flat or etc., or just a location. When you have a layout and they place all of these things throughout the location. Okay, so that's the framework for remembering it at its most basic level. You need three things: you need location, you need imagery, and big imagery, and crazy action, exaggerated action. So that's the essential basic framework for creating very powerful memory techniques, being able to remember anything that you want. And if you can turn people's names into pictures, that's how you do it. And then you can, so let me just give you an example. If you wanted to remember someone like whose name is Vanessa, right? You would convert their name into a van with the Loch Ness monster kind of coming out of it. That creates an image. And then you want to like remember some of these like some of the people that you are going to invite to a party. So you'll put that her in one location. Or if you want to remember the name of a person when you've just met them, you make that picture and place it on top of their head, for example, and that's the location. So anytime you see them, you just like, oh, okay, yeah, Vanessa, and you can easily remember their name. And there are multiple different more advanced ways of doing this, but hopefully this makes sense. MJ is saying amazing stuff, loved it. Thank you, MJ. I truly appreciate it. This is very, very, very powerful stuff, and can truly make a difference in your memory in terms of like allowing you to remember all sorts of amazing stuff. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. That is the session and today's phrase that pays: to master memory in the mind, use the mind the way it was designed. So to master memory in the mind, use the mind the way it was designed. I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And if you have not, please do subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/Munir. I appreciate you, and I will catch you on another episode very soon. Peace out, one love, and I will see you very soon.